What's up, everyone? Happy Football Friday. Just me today, so might be short, might be long. I don't know. We got a lot of stuff going on. Week 18 NFL is here. A lot of teams still in it for the wild card spots, and a couple divisions still up for grabs. We also have the FCS and college football playoff national championship games this weekend, Sunday and Monday. As well as the transfer portal is still going on, and the UFL dispersal drafts for the individual divisions, XFL and USFL, going on right now as well. So, with no games to recap, let's get into the news. College football news. The coaching carousel, North Carolina, they have fired defensive coordinator Gene Chizik. They have since worked very quickly and hired former Georgia Tech head coach Jeff Collins as the defensive coordinator there. So pretty good hire for Mac Brown at UNC. Collins, a respected defensive coordinator before his time at Tech. LSU, they have fired defensive coordinator Matt House, rightfully so. That defense was so bad this year, despite a 10-win season. Auburn, they have fired offensive coordinator Philip Montgomery as well. Transfer portal news, Toledo running back Penny Boone, he has visited Louisville, so Jeff Brom could get another one in the transfer portal as he hit last year on a bunch. His hitting this year as well, going into his second season in Louisville. Oregon State wide receiver Silas Bolden is in the portal. Utah wide receiver Mikey Matthews has a couple visits lined up. Baylor and Cal. Kansas State quarterback Will Howard, he has committed to Ohio State. That is a massive get for the Buckeyes as they struggled in the bowl game once Devin Brown went down. Devin Brown didn't look the greatest anyways in the short time that he was in the Cotton Bowl. But definitely a massive upgrade for Ohio State and Ryan Day. USC wide receiver Dorian Singer is in the portal, former Arizona Wildcat there. Ohio State punter Jesse Mirko, he has committed to Vanderbilt, so they replaced their All-American Matthew Hayball with a pretty good one himself in Mirko. Ohio State wide receiver Julian Fleming has committed to Penn State, and I love it. They needed wide receiver. Now, like someone else said, it doesn't completely fix the problem. Julian Fleming, former 5-star, I believe, maybe 4-star, but highly regarded recruit, into Ohio State. Now he returns because he's from Pennsylvania. He returns home and gets to play for the Nittany Lions this year. Alabama center Seth McLaughlin is in the portal. That is a tough one to sell after the performance in the semifinal game, multiple bad snaps. So we'll see where McLaughlin lands. Vanderbilt wide receiver Will Shepard, he has committed to Colorado. Big playmaker there for the Commodores. Heads to Boulder there, hopefully to be a big playmaker for Shedeur Sanders next year as well. Cincinnati defensive back / linebacker Deshaun Pace, he has committed to UCF. Penn State wide receiver Dante Cephas is in the portal, as is Liberty wide receiver CJ Daniels. Might he go with his quarterback Caden Salter somewhere as a pair? Ole Miss running back Quinshon Judkins is in the portal. That is a big one. Excellent freshman season. Backed it up with a pretty good sophomore season as well. Now he heads into the portal, looking to get into another big time program after he was at Ole Miss. Now this will be interesting Ole Miss wise because they were looking like a powerhouse possibly next year, but now Judkins leaves. They'll have to find a replacement there either internally or externally through recruiting in the portal. Arkansas linebacker Jaheim Thomas, he has committed to Wisconsin. Vanderbilt quarterback Ken Seals commits to TCU. USC wide receiver Michael Jackson III, he has committed to Georgia. Love that signing by Kirby Smart. Going to lose some guys at the receiver position. Ladd McConkey going to the draft. Marcus Rosemary, Jack Saint, Ra Thomas as well. So really excited for Michael Jackson to be in that offense with Carson Beck next year. JMU wide receiver Elijah Surratt made multiple big plays for the Dukes this year. He has committed to Indiana and that new staff there. Oregon quarterback Ty Thompson commits to Tulane. So good replacement for Michael Pratt leaving for the NFL. Ty Thompson, number 81, I believe, in the 2021 recruiting class overall. LSU running back Logan Diggs has entered the portal, over 600 yards rushing for the Tigers this year. Former Notre Dame Fighting Irish as well. Excellent player for Notre Dame. Not really utilized as much at LSU. Maryland quarterback Talia Tagovailoa. He is in the portal seeking a waiver for a 6th season of eligibility. Originally, a lot of teams thought that it wouldn't be possible, but he has entered himself into the portal, so we will see if he can get that or not. Alabama running back Roydell Williams is in the portal. Utah running back Jaquindon Jackson has committed to Arkansas, so Arkansas getting a good back there. Returning next year, Tennessee wide receiver Brew McCoy. Alabama linebacker Deontay Lawson coming off an excellent performance in the CFP semifinal against Michigan. He is returning to the Tide, as is Georgia offensive lineman Tate Ratledge. That is a big get back for Kirby Smart, a stalwart there at the guard position for the Dogs. Declaring for the draft, a lot of running backs, but starting off Clemson running back Will Shipley can do everything, return kicks, as well as dual threat out of the backfield. Texas running back Jonathan Brooks. That's an interesting one. I thought he would return for his redshirt junior year, but especially coming off a torn ACL, not sure what he's going to be able to do. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything physically during the draft process. So we'll see when he can get back on the field from the torn ACL. Iowa corner Cooper DeJean, also coming off an injury, not as major there. I believe his was an ankle. He has entered the draft. He is also a dual threat, just like Will Shipley on offense. Cooper DeJean can cover inside, outside, and return punts as well. Penn State running back Trey Potts, really underutilized at PSU, but former 1,000-yard rusher, multiple seasons at Minnesota. Third down type of back in my mind. And then Marshall running back Rasheen Ali, the junior back, after an excellent career for the Thundering Herd there, enters the draft. Senior Bowl accepted invites, couple big ones. Oregon quarterback Bo Nix. That is a big get for the Senior Bowl staff and Jim Nagy down there in Mobile. Really excited to watch Bo Nix go through the draft process and see how he rises after a couple of tremendous seasons at Oregon. Notre Dame quarterback Sam Hartman coming off maybe his best season in college football at Notre Dame. He is also going to the Senior Bowl. Troy running back Kimani Vidal, well-kept secret there in Troy, Alabama, but he returns to the state to go to Mobile. And then Alabama edge rusher Chris Braswell, excellent player. His teammate Dallas Turner, more well-known, but Braswell, excellent player in his own right, getting off the edge. UFL news. So we have the XFL and the USFL dispersal drafts currently going on. The two division teams taking from their own league from the four teams that got disbanded as a part of the merger. So notables for each team here. For the XFL division, Renegades, they selected UIW quarterback Lindsey Scott Jr. He was drafted last year, I believe, by the Houston Gamblers of the USFL. I think he was drafted in both leagues. I can't remember, though, who drafted him in the XFL. They also selected Sea Dragons running back Morgan Ellison. Battlehawks getting two Sea Dragons, wide receiver Ja'Cour Pearson, which is excellent best receiver in the league probably last year. To get him to St. Louis, going to provide a lot of fanfare for a team that really doesn't need the added fanfare. They already love their Battlehawks there in St. Louis. They also signed Pearson's former teammate, Sea Dragons defensive lineman Antoine Jackson, good interior defensive lineman there. The DC Defenders, my DC Defenders, got 2 studs on the defensive line so far, both from the former Houston Roughnecks edge rushers, Trent Harris and Tim Ward. So those two are going to reconvene in DC and combine to come off the edge. Harris, just a beast of a pass rusher. So really excited to see those two in red and white. And then the Brahmas, they selected Roughnecks offensive lineman Alex Millette and Guardians tight end Cody Latimer. Latimer, a big tight end, was an excellent player, Guardians' best player probably. So him and Millette also both all XFL standouts last year. The USFL dispersal draft, my Memphis Showboats are showing out because the 3 guys they got on offense are absolute studs. Of course, new head coach John DeFilippo taking from his former team, the New Orleans Breakers. So they got 2 Breakers and 1 from the Philadelphia Stars. The Breakers players, they got wide receiver Jonathan Adams, big frame, jump ball type of guy, and also tight end Sage Surratt, one of the best players in the XFL and the USFL last year. Really excited for them to catch passes from former Stars quarterback Case Cookus, who lit up the USFL last year. Really excited to see this offense under DeFilippo. The Roughnecks, who were the Houston Gamblers, now the Roughnecks, taking the XFL name, putting it onto the USFL team. They selected Breakers defensive tackle Keontae Shad, excellent interior player there on the defensive line for Houston. And then the 2-time defending USFL champs, they have selected Breakers defensive end Henri St. Amour, one of the best pass rushers in the USFL, Maulers kicker Chris Blewett, and Generals offensive lineman Calvin Ashley, all USFL selection in both seasons, I believe, for the New Jersey Generals. NFL news, general news here. The Saints starting to chip away at their cap issues for 2024. They converted $13.79 million of corner Marshawn Lattimore's $15 million 24 salary into an option bonus that clears $11.32 million in cap space. Let's go through the starting quarterbacks this week because there's a lot of different ones. Chiefs, they are starting Blaine Gabbert in the place of Patrick Mahomes. Browns starting Jeff Driscoll, PJ Walker to be backup. Joe Flacco going to be inactive as they cannot move out of the 5th seed. Chiefs also cannot move out of their seed. They're locked in at number 3. The Commanders, they are going to start Sam Howell once again this week, not going to Jacoby Brissett, I believe, not healthy still with his hamstring injury. Rams, they are going to start Carson Wentz. Now, I thought that one was interesting because if the Rams lose and the Packers win, the Packers move up to 6 and the Rams move down to 7. So that means the Rams would have to either go to Dallas or Philadelphia. Or if the Eagles win the NFC East and the Lions beat the Vikings, then the Lions would move to 2, and then the Rams would have to go to Detroit. Currently, if the Rams would win, lock into that 6th seed, they're going to head to Detroit. If Dallas wins the NFC East, they would head to Philadelphia if the Eagles win the NFC East. So, moving down to 7 gives you the possibility of having to go to Dallas, one of the best, probably the best home team this year. So they are starting Carson Wentz. The Vikings, they are going back to Nick Mullins as their starter after starting rookie Jaron Hall last week. 49ers, they are starting Sam Darnold after they have the number 1 seed locked up. So nothing to play for there against the Rams. And the Ravens, they are starting Tyler Huntley at quarterback as they have nothing to play for either. Number 1 seed in the AFC. We got the Pro Bowl rosters announced this week. So here we go. Let's run through real quick. So on offense for the NFC, the quarterbacks, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, Matthew Stafford. Wide receivers, A.J. Brown, Mike Evans, C.D. Lamb, and Puka Nacua. Running backs, Christian McCaffrey, DeAndre Swift, Kyron Williams. Fullback, Kyle Juszczyk. Tight ends, George Kittle, Sam Laporta. Tackles, Lane Johnson, Penei Sewell, Trent Williams. Guards, Landon Dickerson, Chris Lindstrom, Zach Martin. And the centers, Jason Kelsey and Frank Ragnow. So offensively, a lot of the same teams, San Francisco, Dallas, Philadelphia, Detroit, and the Rams as well. Defensively, the defensive ends, Nick Bosa, Aiden Hutchinson, Montez Sweat. Interior defensive linemen, Aaron Donald, Javon Hargrave, Dexter Lawrence. Outside linebackers, Danielle Hunter, Micah Parsons, and Hassan Reddick. Inside middle linebackers, Bobby Wagner and Fred Warner. Corners, Deron Bland, Jalen Johnson, Travarius Ward, and Devin Witherspoon. Free safety, Jesse Bates. Strong safeties, Buda Baker and Julian Love, not Jordan Love, not the Packers quarterback, Julian Love. My bad. There, it's not as much of a concentration in terms of teams. Obviously, you have a lot of San Francisco. And other than that, Seattle actually has quite a few. I think they might have the most defenders, maybe tied with San Fran. But yeah, those two teams, I would say, are the prominent two in terms of defensive players. And then specialists for the NFC, punter is Brian Anger. Place kicker is Brandon Aubrey. So the Cowboys getting a sweep there of the punter-kicker combo. Long snapper is Vikings Andrew DePaula. Return specialist, Rashid Shaheed. And a special teamer is Lions Jalen Reeves-Maben. And on the AFC side, quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Tua Tagovailoa. Wide receivers, Keenan Allen, Jamar Chase, Amari Cooper, and Tyreek Hill. Running backs, James Cook, Derrick Henry, Raheem Mostert. Fullback is Alec Ingold. Tight ends, Travis Kelce, David Njoku. Tackles, Teron Armstead, Deion Dawkins, Laramie Tunsil. Guards, Joel Bitonio, Quentin Nelson, Joe Thuney. And centers, Creed Humphrey and Tyler Linderbaum. Again, offensively, a lot of concentration in the same teams. You have Miami, Kansas City, Cleveland, actually, Buffalo, and Baltimore. Defensively, defensive ends, Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson. Interior defensive linemen, Chris Jones, Justin Madubuike, and Quinnen Williams. Outside linebackers, Josh Allen, Khalil Mack, TJ Watt. Inside middle linebackers, Patrick Queen, Roquan Smith. Ravens sweeping that up. Corners, Sauce Gardner, Jalen Ramsey, Pat Surtain II, and Denzel Ward. Free safeties, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Justin Simmons, and strong safety is Kyle Hamilton. Baltimore, lot of defensive players there. They're really the only one that has the most players, I believe. Denver has a couple. Pittsburgh has a couple. Cleveland also with a couple. And I think everyone else is singled up. The Jets have two as well. Specialist-wise, punter is A.J. Cole. Place kicker, Justin Tucker. Long snapper, Ross Matisik of the Jags. Return specialist, Marvin Mims. And special teamer is Steelers' Miles Killebrew. So those are your AFC, NFC Pro Bowlers. Sure, there are some snubs. We'll see if the guys have any snubs to talk about on Tuesday. Playoff scenarios, love these. And it's week 18, so it's go time. We got a lot of scenarios to go through in both conferences. So we're gonna go through the division, how each team can win the division, and then if they can also get a berth, we'll do those at the afterwards. So for the Falcons, their only way into the playoffs is winning the NFC South. They will do that with a win against the Saints and a Bucs loss against the Panthers. Falcons in New Orleans, Bucs in Carolina. Cowboys, their path is simple to winning the NFC East. They win it. They get it with a win or a tie and a Eagles tie or a Eagles loss. Cowboys in Washington to play the Commanders. Eagles in East Rutherford to play the Giants. Eagles winning the NFC East with a win and a Cowboys loss or tie to the Commanders, or they can tie and have the Cowboys lose. The Bucs have two paths. The first is with the NFC South title. They accomplish that with a win against the Panthers, or a tie and a Saints loss or tie. They can also get in with a berth. If they tie the Panthers, the Seahawks lose in Arizona to the Cardinals, and the Packers lose or tie at home against the Bears. The Saints can win the NFC South with a win at home against the Falcons and a Bucs loss or tie to the Panthers, or with a tie and a Bucs loss. They can also get in with as a wild card with a win, a Seahawks loss or tie to the Cardinals, and a Packers loss or tie to the Bears, or a tie, a Seahawks loss, and a Packers loss. The other three teams fighting for a playoff berth there, the last wild card spot, other than the Saints and Bucs, are the Packers. Their path is the simplest: win against the Bears, and you are in. They tie the Bears. The Seahawks lose or tie, and the Saints lose or tie to the Falcons. They are in. Tie, Seahawks loss, and a Bucs loss to the Panthers. Tie, a Seahawks tie, and a Bucs loss or tie. They can also get in with a loss, though. If they do lose to Chicago, they can get in with a Vikings loss or tie in Detroit against the Lions, plus a Seahawks loss and a Bucs loss, or a Vikings loss or tie, a Seahawks loss, and a Saints loss. The Vikings way into the playoffs is a win against the Lions in Detroit, a Packers loss against the Bears in Green Bay, a Seahawks loss in Arizona against the Cardinals, and either a Bucs or Saints loss. That is how the Vikings would get in at 8-9. And then the Seahawks, to get in, their couple scenarios: win against the Cardinals and have the Packers lose or tie to the Bears, a tie, Packers loss, and either a Bucs or Saints loss or tie. For the AFC, the Dolphins, they win the AFC East with a win or a tie. The Bills, they win the AFC East with a win. They can get in with a berth still if they tie the Dolphins, or if they lose against the Dolphins, but the Steelers, Jags lose or tie, or if the Colts and Texans both, if they tie that game. Speaking of that game, the Texans, they will win the AFC South with a win and a Jags loss or tie in Nashville against the Titans. They can still make it with a playoff berth with a win against the Colts, or a tie, a Jags loss, and a Steelers loss or tie in Baltimore against the Ravens tomorrow. The Colts, theirs is similar to the Texans. They will win the AFC South with a win and a Jags loss or tie, or a tie and a Jags loss. They will get a playoff berth with a win, or a tie and a Steelers loss or tie to the Ravens. The Jags, pretty simple, win the AFC South with a win or tie and have the Colts and Texans tie. They can still get into the playoffs with a tie as the not with an AFC South title, but with just a playoff berth for the wild card. If they tie the Titans and the Steelers lose or tie the Ravens, or if they lose to the Titans, they can still get in with a Steelers loss, a Broncos loss or tie to the Raiders in Vegas, and the Colts and Texans do not tie. For the Steelers, pretty doable, I would say. To get into the playoffs, they need a win and a Bills loss in Miami, a win and a Jags loss or tie to the Titans, a win and a Colts and Texans tie, or a tie, a Jags loss, and the Texans and Colts don't tie. Or even if the Ravens and Tyler Huntley beat the Steelers, they can still get in. The Titans beat the Jags, the Broncos beat the Raiders, and the Colts and Texans do not tie. So those are all your NFC, AFC scenarios there for week 18. IR return to the Jags. They opened the practice window for wide receiver Christian Kirk, and the stats are pretty telling that the Jags really do need Christian Kirk a lot. Weeks 1 through 13, the Jags 8-4, 23.8 points per game. That's 9th in the NFL, 346.8 yards per game, 12th in the NFL. Since then, week 14, 1-3, 18 points per game. That's 28th in the NFL, 312 total yards per game. That's 21st. And Trevor Lawrence's stats have gone down significantly without Christian Kirk. With him, 8-4, 67.9% completion, 14 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 94.4 passer rating. Without him, 0-3, 57.4% completion, 5 touchdowns, 5 picks, 71.5 passer rating there. So Jags definitely need Christian Kirk to be back for the playoffs. 4 weeks removed from core muscle surgery. For the Broncos, tight end Greg Dulcich. I had never heard of this happening, but his practice window has expired, so he will not return this season. Not returning this season and might be out for the start of next season as well. Cardinals left tackle DJ Humphries. He tore his ACL last week. Obviously not going to play this week, and a long road to go. Ins and outs. There is a lot of movement on the ins and outs because of all the resting of players this weekend. The Jets quarterback Zach Wilson, he is still in concussion protocol. He's going to be out, miss the season finale. Trevor Siemian once again starting for the Jets in New England against Patriots. Rams, Carson Wentz is going to be without running back Kyron Williams, wide receiver Cooper Kupp, and defensive tackle Aaron Donald. They are all out. Texans, wide receiver Noah Brown with a back injury, defensive end Jonathan Greenard with an ankle. They are both out. Wide receiver Robert Woods with a hip, defensive end Will Anderson Jr. with an ankle, fullback Andrew Beck with a calf, defensive tackle Malik Collins with a hip injury, defensive tackle Sheldon Rankins with an ankle injury, offensive tackle Laramie Tunsil with a groin. They are all questionable. Colts running back Zach Moss with a forearm, corner Kenny Moore II, offensive lineman Braden Smith are all questionable. Moss likely to play, though. Steelers, safety Minka Fitzpatrick, linebacker Landon Roberts. They are both questionable. Roberts more likely to play than Fitzpatrick. Jags quarterback Trevor Lawrence with his AC joint injury and his throwing shoulder. He is officially listed as questionable. Probably going to go up to game time, however. Ravens, corner Marlon Humphrey with a calf injury. Wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. resting, as is guard Kevin Zeitler. They are all out. Wide receiver Zay Flowers with a calf. He is doubtful. Corner Ronald Darby with an illness. Safety Kyle Hamilton with a knee. They are both questionable. Titans rookie quarterback Will Levis. He was ruled out this week. Ryan Tannehill to start. Packers running back A.J. Dillon with a stinger. He is out. Wide receiver Christian Watson with a hamstring injury. He is questionable. Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins with a hamstring. He is doubtful. Chiefs, wide receiver Rashee Rice, corner L'Jarius Sneed, wide receiver Kadarius Toney, offensive tackle Donovan Smith. They are all out. Running back Isaiah Pacheco, linebacker Nick Bolton, corner Trent McDuffie, defensive ends George Karlaftis and Mike Dana. They are all questionable. Eagles, they're going to be without corner Darius Slay, dealing with a knee, and wide receiver Devontae Smith with an ankle. They are both out. And then Raiders ruled out running back Josh Jacobs today as well. Couple signings to go through. The Browns, they signed Jets offensive lineman Roger Saffold to their practice squad, so some late season offensive line depth there. And the Ravens made the big splash. They signed Jets running back Dalvin Cook to their practice squad today. College football pick standings, and yeah, it has been a runaway for Logan all year. I have since caught up with Jimmy, and now we sit tied. But yeah, Logan still 20 games up there and whatnot. So yeah, it has not gone very great for Jimmy and I against Logan this year, but it's all good. Last week we had Logan and I tied at 5-4. Logan went 2-1 in his Lone Wolves. He got Ole Miss right against Penn State, lost Wisconsin against LSU, and then got Washington right over Texas in the CFP semifinal. I went 2-1 in my Lone Wolf as well. Got Maryland right over Auburn, Wyoming right over Toledo, and I lost Iowa against Tennessee. And Jimmy did not have any Lone Wolves. So our final two college games to pick this season. First one on Sunday is the FCS National Championship game played at Toyota Stadium in Frisco. Jimmy, it's lone Montana Grizz. Number 2 Montana against number 1 South Dakota State. The Jacks getting 13.5. That is ridiculous for a championship game. Montana probably going to cover that, I would assume, the way that they have played in the postseason so far. However, I don't see anyone stopping South Dakota State. They are on this run, and they are looking at and going to win back-to-back national championships in the FCS level. So great for Mark Gronowski, the quarterback there. A lot of other really solid players there for the Jackrabbits. Now, Montana has some good guys as well. Jalen Bergen as well. But yeah, I think I've been picking South Dakota State all year. They're going to get it done once again, I think, on Sunday. That one is total 49.5. I like the over. 2 p.m. ABC and ESPN Plus. And the other game here on Monday, College Football Playoff National Championship presented by AT&T. Number 2 Washington against number 1 Michigan. 4.5 points for the Wolverines in this one. This one's going to be in Houston at NRG Stadium where the Texans play. Jimmy, once again, lone wolfing, make a break. Hopefully he loses both because if he ties, we'll tie for second. But anyways, yeah, I think Washington just has the offense. I understand Michigan's defense is very, very good, but Washington, I just don't think they're going to be able to get stopped on offense. Michael Penix threw for 430 yards. The defense for Washington might be the more skeptical side of the ball. However, they were playing an explosive offense on the other side in Texas, and I just don't see Michigan being able to get the explosive plays that Texas could. Now, The one thing that I will say is I think Michigan will run the ball like they always do, because Texas did have success running the ball against Washington. I just don't think the Michigan defense is going to hold up for long enough against the trio of wide receivers that Washington has, as well as even Jack Westover, the tight end, is also. So, yeah, I think that Washington's going to put it up in the air, let Michael Penix win the game. Go Huskies. 56.5 is the total here. I'm leaning on the over. 7:30 ESPN. NFL pick standings. Yeah, Logan's spectacular record last week. He went 1-0 in his lone wolf. He got the Colts right over the Raiders. Jimmy went 0-1. He lost the Bucks against the Saints. And I went 2-5 in my 7 lone wolf day. I lost the Lions against the Cowboys. Don't get me started on that game again. The Panthers lost to the Jags. The Dolphins lost to the Ravens. The Bears beat the Falcons. The Titans lost to the Texans. The Commanders lost to the 49ers. The Steelers beat the Seahawks. So, yeah, it was very interesting. And I have the most lone wolves once again this week, 5. Jimmy's got 3. Logan's got 2. Jimmy, 1 game up on Logan. I am too many back, 8, 7 of Logan. So I do not have any chance in this race this week. But hopefully I can make it up in the playoffs. Here we go. Week 18. Starting off tomorrow, we have a doubleheader in the afternoon and night. Steelers at the Ravens, needing this game to get in. And yeah, I think obviously I'm picking the Steelers. You know, they are really solid right now. It's been the run game. Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, Mason Rudolph has been a catalyst on offense at quarterback, and it's just all working right now. The defense is playing like they have all year. And I think they're going to be able to get it done against Tyler Huntley as opposed to Lamar Jackson. A lot of other starters not playing. I think that will help, especially when they face the Ravens defense. Jimmy, though, is going with Tyler Huntley just to spite me, I think. So he is rolling with the Ravens. Total for this one is 34.5, and I am leaning on the under. 4:30 ESPN, ABC, and ESPN Plus. The big one. This is a win and in game. Whoever wins this one will lock up a spot. That'll be the 6th seed more than likely. But the Texans at the Colts, both 9-7. Logan, I was surprised. He is rolling with the Colts. He is on the Gardner Minshew bandwagon there. I'm rolling with the better quarterback, C.J. Stroud. I know he doesn't have Noah Brown, Robert Woods banged up, no Tank Dell, but the connection with Nico Collins, and I think that overall the Texans are a better team than the Colts, so that's what I'm going with the Texans, as is Jimmy. 47.5 is the total for this one. I'm leaning on the under. 8:15 p.m. ESPN, ABC, and ESPN Plus tomorrow night. And on Sunday, the Bucks at the Panthers. I was shocked Logan went with me. Jimmy knows better than to pick the Panthers, but I got to go with my New Orleans Saints division winner. And so I think Logan also had them winning the NFC South, so that's probably why he's picking the Panthers as well. Jimmy, it's another one, probably an easy one with the Bucks. He has the Bucks winning the NFC South. Total for this game is 37.5. Under because the Panthers needed to go low scoring to win. The Browns at the Bengals. I can't believe I'm getting a lone wolf on Jake Browning and the Cincinnati Bengals here. They're 7-point favorites at home with Jeff Driscoll starting on the other side. Like, no way. No way are the Bengals not going to win this game, get a winning record this year. That's the only thing they have to play for right now. So, yeah, I'm not trusting Jeff Driscoll with a pick. So, good luck to you, but no, Bengals win it. Total is 37.5 as well. I like the under. Vikings at the Lions. No lone wolves finally. We're going to let the button calm down there on the lone wolf howl. But, yeah, Lions do have something to play for. They can get to the number 2 seed possibly. If the Eagles win the NFC East, that's what they're hoping for. Not sure if they're going to rest their players or not, if they see a big difference in the 2 or 3 seed, knowing that they would have to have the Cowboys lose to the Commanders and the Eagles win against the Giants to get the 2 seed. But right now, I haven't heard anything about the Lions resting anyone, so they're 3.5-point favorites going against Nick Mullins. I like the Lions to win this one, as does everyone. 45.5 is total here. Let's go with the over. Why not? Jets at the Patriots, a non-playoff bowl here. This is the only, or this is one of only 2 games that have both teams not in the playoffs or fighting for a playoff spot. So, yeah, Jimmy and I are going with the Jets. I was going to go with the Patriots originally because I think they've been playing really well the last couple of weeks with Bailey Zappi. But I'm going to go with the Jets because I made a vow early in the year to never pick the Patriots again this season, and that's what I'm going to do. So, Logan gets the lone wolf on maybe Bill Belichick's last game in New England. Who knows? Total is 30.5. And I'm going with the over. I like the over now. Falcons at the Saints. Well, you know where Logan and I are sitting. We were going to pick the Saints no matter what. We have them winning the NFC South. That's why we picked the Panthers. Jimmy is picking the Saints with us, though. The Saints, like I said, can possibly still get in to the playoffs with a couple of different scenarios there. Total is 42.5. And I'm liking the under in that game. Jags at the Titans. We're all in on the AFC South champs. Going back-to-back first time. It would be since 98-99 for Jacksonville. And with Ryan Tannehill on the other side, I think the Jags going to shut down Derrick Henry. Ryan Tannehill isn't going to be able to beat the Jags defense. And hopefully Trevor Lawrence plays, so it gives the Jags better chance than C.J. Beathard. 41.5 is the total here. I am leaning on the under. 425 slate. This is the biggest 425 slate, I believe, all year. Eagles at the Giants, down to 5.5 right now. But yeah, we all are on Philadelphia. They are down a couple guys. There were rumors that they might rest some guys. We'll see if they do that in game, possibly, depending on what the score looks like. And obviously, they'll be watching the Cowboys game. If the Cowboys game is getting out of hand in favor of Dallas, then the Eagles will probably rest people because they won't be able to move out of the 5 seed where they currently sit. And because of the mojo that's been going on in Philadelphia right now, I decided to change it. I said I wasn't going to wear this jersey that I just got for Christmas. Eagles, Kelly Green, Jalen Hurts jersey. Said I wasn't going to wear it because I've been wearing A.J. Brown all year and you don't switch jerseys. But something has to give with this Eagles team. Something has to change. AJ Brown has started the conversation, and I'm going to continue the conversation. Something's got to change. And so I'm changing jerseys. I'll be wearing this on Sunday. 41.5 is the total here. I am liking the over. Seahawks at the Cardinals. Yeah, I don't know why. I have a feeling like that the Cards are going to get this one done. Coming off the high of the win in Philadelphia last week. For one, I think I'm obligated to pick the Cardinals now because they beat the Eagles and the Steelers this year. And for two, I just think this team has momentum. They've played really well with Kyler Murray this year, have been in almost all the games he's played in, and have won a couple. So I think it's going to be a good springboard to go out with multiple back-to-back wins into 2024 and see if they can't get the roster better around Kyler and get some upgrades at the receiver position and make the Cardinals a playoff team possibly next season. 47.5 is the total here. I'm leaning on the under. Seahawks need a Packers loss to get into the playoffs and a win. And we don't think that's going to happen. The Bears at the Packers. Green Bay's 3-point favorite at home. Now the Bears are playing very well right now. I picked them last week. Lone Wolf beat the Falcons. They did. However, I'm going with the Packers this week for two reasons. For one, because I'd like to see the Packers get into the playoffs. And for two, because I had the Bears under on wins this season. It was 7.5. So I need the Packers to help me out and win at home against the Bears, who they are so good against. So please, Green Bay, do not let this be the one time you lose to Chicago. Go do the thing, win the game. They're not going to have A.J. Dillon, might not have Christian Watson as well. The young guys got to step up on offense. Joe Barry, get that defense playing like they did against Minnesota on New Year's Eve. 45.5 is the total here. I am liking the over. Chiefs at the Chargers. Yeah, I was surprised at this one again. Also, picks wise, Chargers getting 3.5 at home. I'm lone wolf in the Chargers, yeah, because Blaine Gabbert has played well in the preseason with Kansas City, but without receivers, like, he has no chance. Like, Kadarius Toney's already out. MVS is banged up. Travis Kelce's probably not going to play, I would think, nor will I think some of the offensive line. So Blaine Gabbert's going to be a sit and duck out there. I don't think he's going to have a lot of options. So yeah, give me the Chargers, who are playing everyone because they have nothing to lose. 35.5 is a total. I am leaning on the under. Broncos at the Raiders. This is the second game of the aforementioned two games with both teams non-playoff or non-playoff implications. However, Broncos have something to play for. They are fighting for a winning season in Sean Payton's first year there in Denver. I don't think they're going to get it, nor does Logan. Jimmy does, though. Jimmy is calling with Jarrett Stidham. The Broncos beat the Chargers last week. I don't see it. The Raiders are playing really well. Now, they lost last week to the Colts in a close one, 3-point affair. But they beat the Chiefs on Christmas, and I think they're going to come out and get this last win, make a big statement for Antonio Pierce as the head coach in 2024 and beyond, even without Josh Jacobs. 37.5 is the total here. I'm leaning on the under. Rams at the 49ers. Yeah, this one is Carson Wentz for LA versus Sam Darnold for San Fran. I'm going with everyone else in the 49ers. I just think Sam Darnold has the better setup than Carson Wentz does. Wentz, no Cooper Kupp, no Kyron Williams, probably no Nakua, I would think. For San Fran, Christian McCaffrey's not going to be in. Not sure what other pieces are going to play, but I still think Sam Darnold has the better overall roster around him that they can play well and win this game. The total is 40.5, and I'm leaning on the under. Commanders at the Cowboys, or Cowboys at the Commanders. My bad. Yes, of course. The Commanders back-to-back weeks. I picked them against the 49ers. It was 10-10 at one point. They lost 27-10. But the Commanders beat the Cowboys last year on week 18 in Dallas, or maybe it was in Washington as well. But I'm going to give Sam Howell the week 18 player of the year once again, because he's going to go out and win this game and probably his final game as a starter for the Washington Commanders. Probably Ron Rivera's final game as the Commanders head coach as well. Cowboys are 3-5 on the road. They lost their last one in Miami, and they're going to lose another one to the Washington Commanders as the Eagles win the NFC East by beating the Giants, and the Cowboys lost. Go do it, Washington. Double-digit home dogs. You always pick them, right? 13-point dogs at home. 46.5 is the total here. I am leaning on the over. And finally, Sunday Night Football, the 2023 season capper. Bills, 2.5-point favorites at the Dolphins. This one's in Miami, y'all. Let's go. Go win. Raheem Mostert's going to be back. Jalen Waddle might be back. Not sure about him. Tyreek, tough timing dealing with that fire at his house, but he will be focused. Tua will be focused. Mike McDaniel will have this team ready to go. They got embarrassed in Buffalo earlier this season. Buffalo is one of the hotter teams in the league right now. However, Miami is not going to get it done. Not going to lay down for Buffalo with the division title on the line. They're already locked into the playoffs. The Bills are not. The Bills have everything to lose in this game. Dolphins, shut it down. Send the Bills out of the playoffs. Because the Bills lost and Steelers win, Steelers are in. Go do it, Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa. 48 is a total. I like the under. 820 NBC. Best bets of the week, guys. It did not go well last week. I was on a pretty good run of 3-0 there, but 1-2 last week puts me 23, 27-1 overall on the year. So I have one more shot to get it done here to get to 26, 27-1, one game short of 500. It's been a rough year, but we've had some great weeks. 3-0 weeks since week 10. Those are the only 3-0 weeks. But yeah, it's gotten better over the last half of over the second half of the season. It's been a lot better. So 1-2 last week, though. Lost the Rams -5.5 at the Giants. Can't believe they didn't cover that against Tyrod Taylor. The Bengals +7 at the Chiefs. God, I was pissed. They lost by 8. That one was one of the worst beats of the year. And then the Packers +1 at the Vikings. They throttled Minnesota by 23 on Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve. So this week, the last 3 of the season, I'm going with the Steelers -3 at the Ravens against Tyler Huntley and co. I just think the Steelers will be able to cover that and win that game. Jags -3.5 at the Titans. Again, I think the Jags are going to win that game and win it pretty easily against Ryan Tannehill. And Titans also have a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. And then the final one is the Dolphins +2.5 against the Bills. I think they're going to win that game, so makes them cover. Why not, right? Lock standings. Yeah, we all won last week because the Rams. We all had the Rams as our lock, and we all won. So it's coming down to this. It's Logan against me. Jimmy could possibly tie the lead, tie for the win if if both Logan and I lose and he wins, we would be a three-way tie for first. But it comes down to Logan and I, really, and we have different picks, luckily. So Logan, unfortunately, I want him to win so badly because the Saints, I want them to win the NFC South. So I got to root for him. So we're going to tie 11-7 is what's going to happen. Just like Jimmy and I tied for the Tuesday pick standings. Logan and I, though, Logan going with the Saints at home against the Falcons. Love that one. I think the Saints are going to get that thing done and hope that the Bucs lose to the Panthers, which Jimmy does not have them doing. He lone wolf Tampa Bay and is picking them as his lock. So hope you lose, Jimmy. Hope Logan wins, which is not great. But my lock this week is the Steelers in Baltimore. Everything on the line. Ravens have nothing to play for. I just think that the Steelers are going to go in there, get to a 3-game win streak, and get to the playoffs, hopefully. Dog standings. I'm on fire in dogs, man. I won my last two. The Ravens +5 at the 49ers, Steelers +3.5 at the Seahawks last week. So I am on a 4-game win streak here. And Logan is the opposite. He has lost 2 in a row. And Jimmy, luckily for him, he covered the Raiders covered by the hook. He had the Raiders +3.5 at the Colts last week. So they covered, but they did lose outright. Logan had the Chargers +3.5 at the Broncos. They lost by 7. I believe was 16-9 there. So it comes down to this, just like the lock standings, Logan versus me. It is Jimmy versus Logan, tied at the top, 17-17. Who is going to get the winning record this year? We shall see. We were hot early on in the season. We were hot. It has not been great since week 6. From week 6 to week 9, there was only one outright winner among us. And then we had a little bit of uptick there. Well, I say we. Logan and Jimmy had a couple outright wins each. And then week 12 to 14, once again, there was only one outright winner among the 3 of us. And then weeks 15 through 18 here, 5 outright winners, including, like I said, me, back to back. So we shall see what it does here. I'm just trying to get the most wins I can. 14, 20, and 2 is best I can get. But here we go. Logan is liking the Chiefs +3.5 at the Chargers. Well, the Chargers are going to spurn him 2 weeks in a row because I lone wolf to LA. So yeah, give me the Chargers in that one. Jimmy is going with the Browns +7 at the Bengals. Once again, I lone wolf that game going Cincinnati. So I have no clue how the Browns are supposed to win that one with Jeff Driscoll at quarterback, let alone cover. Now they might cover just based on their defense alone. So that might be the deciding factor for Jimmy on that one. But yeah, I think I have both their teams losing. So I don't like either of their dogs. My dog, though, I'm looking to finish the year right. Go out 3 straight outright winners. Dolphins +2.5 at home against the Bills. Division on the line. Miami is going to get it done in prime time. The last game of the regular season in 2023. Go get it done, Mike McDaniel and Tua. Do it for Bradley Chubb. And that is the show for today, y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Next week, we'll be back, and it will be Wild Card Weekend. Super excited for that one. Super Wild Card Weekend, I should say, because we have games on like all the networks, including a Monday night game. We'll have all your NCAA and NFL news, game recaps, game previews as well. We'll look at the national championship games on Tuesday. Make sure you tune in for that one. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and X. FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, or YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, etc. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see y'all back on Tuesday.